Well, hello and welcome back to the Krumet Valley Railroad. We're going to do a grand tour, and this will probably span a few episodes. Today we'll be going from the freight depot to the the logging camp, and the lumber mill, the ore mine, and ending at the smelter. So, without further ado, so here we're leaving the freight depot and the main yard and heading out onto the main line. You can see the engine houses back there. Here's our turntable coming up on the left, soon to be replaced with a better turntable. We're heading out onto Main 1. As we head along Main 1, we'll be coming up to the first of many junctions. We'll have to go through turnouts to go back to single track, and then we'll be taking a left up the hill and bridge to the logging camp, which, going this direction, is a left turn. The track going off to the left goes to the southwest side of the map. And if we were to go to the right, we would go on over to the lumber mill and around to the East Industries. But we're going to go along this track up to the logging camp. To get there, we go around some curvy bridges, and that will take us on up into the camp. We'll be arriving on the main log loading area. This bridge is about a 2% grade. As we curve around some of the little hills that lay between the freight depot and the logging camp. As we pass through the logging camp, we'll actually be over there near the foothill to go to the lumber mill, where we'll go by on a passing siding, and as there's a train sitting and waiting to load up at the lumber mill. here we are. There's some parking for trains over there. And we can see our log loading area here. You can see a cordwood train is waiting to be loaded up to go off to various places where we need that sort of lumber. And we have a parking siding over here for our log train that goes on down to the lumber mill. We go up here and ride on the flat car. As we go back down, and this is about a 1.5% grade going down to the lumber mill. Open up my remote control here so I can make sure that we're going to go the way that we want to. We'll eventually be passing a service area with firewood and water, and then we're going to go on around a curve, and then we're going to bypass the lumber mill where there's two trains. The log train is sitting next to the pod down there, and the lumber train is sitting in the other bay waiting to get loaded. Along this track, nothing gets so steep as to exceed the speed limits and derail the trains. There's our logging camp lumber mill service center. We need to refill this with some cordwood or logs. Let's pick up a little bit of speed as we curve around, and we'll set a switch on the far side of the lumber mill so we can go on around and down to the valley, and where we'll take a right, eventually take a right turn to go on over to the ore camp. Here's our cook mogul waiting to be filled so that we can take that off to the mill. Curve around the back side of the lumber mill. And here's our switch. If we go to the right, we're going to go back over to where you can go to the Southwest Industries or the other mill. Over there's our Type 48 with the log train. Sometimes we take that out to the southwest and move pipe around. This is one of a couple of Ys that are on the system. I'm going to let off the throttle a bit here. And we're going to make sure that we're set up to go up the hill to the ore mine. As many people do, it's kind of a big loop that goes up to the ore mine. You kind of curve around the mountains and go through a horseshoe gully and up the other side and along the west side of the valley that the ore mine is at the end of, and then you can just continue along the east side to go back down to the smelter. This is sort of the main saddle of the map where you pretty much have to go this way to get to the east side industries. And here comes our switch. If you go forward, you go down the hill into the smelter area, and you can go on up to the coal mine. But if you go to the right, as we're doing, then you're going to go up the hill and to the ore mine, as we're going to do. So let's pick up a little bit of throttle so we can make it up the hill. We'll be hugging the edge of the mountain as we go. This is about a 2 to 3% grade climb. I very much think that they made it very pretty when they did the autumn colors. As we switch to the steel bridge, this curve at the end of the valley is rather tight. And now we'll come back out into the main valley as we go around to the right and cling to the edge of the hill mountain as we move on up to the ore mine. We'll be arriving at the ore mine in just a few minutes. Originally I had planned to go along the edge of the mountain through here, but ended up going in a straight line to minimize the amount of time that it takes to traverse this area. You can kind of see on the other side how the track moves back down the other side of the valley to get down to the smelter, which is back over there. But we're going up here, and the smelter will, or the iron mine will come into view in just a few minutes. I've been doing railroads online now for a little over a year. I started pretty much as soon as I discovered the game, and I watched many different people with their different approaches to how to do things. Some people have some really fun ideas on activities to do in the game that don't necessarily relate to operating a railroad and making money, but it's sort of a situation where once you've bought all the locomotives and cars that you want for your railroad, you just kind of start accumulating more and more money. And I was just listening to some people talking about it would be nice if there was other ways that you'd end up having to spend the money, such as on locomotive maintenance and so forth. You can see just over there is the iron mine. We'll be there in about a minute. 2 minutes maybe. We're climbing a pretty steep grade now. And we should probably put some more wood on the fire. Kind of coast around here. There's a big turnaround loop, which is also the service route for the firewood depot. And again, here we have a firewood depot and a water tower. It's just adjacent to the drop-off area for supplies to make the iron ore. We currently need to deliver some more supplies up here. Let's get back and catch our train back down the hill. Going to cut off the map. Now we're going to throttle back and apply about 20% brake. It's about 2 to 3% downhill at this point in time. And we leave the iron ore mine and head down to the smelter. It's a fairly interesting route as we go. I have strayed away from the predetermined location of the downgrade. So that I could have a more even run at a lower grade than if I was actually going along the other way, because there's you can have quite a steep grade in places and it gets really windy and twisty, although it's pretty windy and twisty on the bridge that I built. Passing through another little back inset valley. This is about the 6th incarnation of the Krumet Valley Railroad. Each time I do this, it gets just a little bit better. And of course, with modifications to the system, it gets easier and easier to build nice smooth railroads. Aardvark was just pointing out recently about at the bottom of this valley is a stream, but the stream doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't start anywhere. It's just there, so pretty much it's a big narrow lake. We're getting to go pretty fast here, because so apply a little brake here. actually a very pretty game. Take the brake off again. I like how they do updates to change the seasons. Right now it's autumn. I'm sure in the next few weeks there'll be an update that changes us all to winter. Winter in the mountains with snow falling, etc. Starting to pick up speed again. Put a little more brake back on. You don't want to go too fast because it will derail and it's a big pain to kind of get the train back on the track when you're on the edge of a mountain, because the cars tend to go way down there. Then you have to go down, get the car, and then get back up here onto the bridge. We're coming up to the point where we flatten out for a bit and we're going to make a curve around to the right. And then we'll curve back to the left and meet up with the turnout where if you're coming up from the smelter, you'd go off to the coal mine, or you could go up to the ore mine. We'll see that in just a couple minutes here. This is where it levels off again for just a little bit. We're kind of near the falls into the valley. Let's take off the brake, give it a little juice. As we go along this flat area, which is an uncommon thing in the first valley. This is where the second valley also comes off. And in just a second here, as we curve back around to the left, you will see the track that goes off to the coal mine. This is another area where I've double tracked for operation. There is some information that says that the more switches you have, the more lag you induce into the system. Now, going down this bridge, this is about a 4.5% grade down. We got a little carried away with the brake. Let's take the brake off. We don't need any throttle for this section. And I've thought about naming some of the features. It's very nice water. Let me put on some more brakes here, so we don't get too out of control. Like I said, this is about a 4.5% downgrade as we hug the edge of the valley on our way down to the smelter. Take the brake off on this car. And over here, you can see some stone wall, and that's part of the second Y in the system, which is actually uphill, so it's easier to just gravity feed the train back down onto the track going the other direction. Also down here is a way to do a shortcut back up to the lumber mill. But we're going to take the right switch and we'll go around the smelter. Coming up on the backside of the smelter is another one of those tight spots on the railroad. It's about a 35 to 40 meter radius curve to get back around to the unloading side. This is the loading side, where you can load up rails and raw iron. And you take the rails out to the coal mine, and you take the raw iron over to the steel mill, and you have to bring coal from the coal mine over to the steel mill, and then you get pipes and tools. You also have to take lumber there too. But as we come in to the loading side, this is where we will be ending our tour, part 1. It is a bit of a challenge to make the cordwood area and the ore area so that it's easily accessible. But here we are at the smelter. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.